Okay, time to get into one of, if not the most expensive hobby out there. Good old Warhammer 40k. So this here is the introductory set that pretty much gets you into it. So as you can see here, I kind of already opened the box so we can make this video pretty quicker and everything. So this introductory book for box, I should say, comes with the handbook. So what you can do is pretty much start off and everything. So go flip through this and everything. So it has the contents of pretty much on how what to do. So it gives the introduction, how to build your models. So I was pretty much showcase the models. Now I have yet to actually put these together myself because of lack of time and everything. So pretty much they come in the spruces and spruces, pretty much how you can put them together and everything. So this is how they come in, and they also have good old bases for them as well. So they give you how to build your models and pretty much how to paint your models. So here's like a couple bottles for paint, plus you can pick up some brushes for it, brush tops as well. And so then it gets into read about Space Marines and the Tyranids, and then learn how to play for Warhammer 40k. So here we have pretty much the introductory introduction, and then here we actually have the how to build them, and they kind of show some that are already started to get painted and everything. So good quick guide on how to build those miniatures. Gives us a guide on how to actually paint them. So people who have actually played Warhammer can attest there's never enough time, too many miniatures, never enough time, and of course end up always buying more miniatures and everything. So this is why I say this is one of, if not the most expensive hobby that's out there, but it's definitely one of the popular ones. So now we get into doing the Tyranids, as you can see here, the Termagants or Termagants or however you pronounce it and everything. This is one of the many things I have yet to get into. So here we see all about the Space Marines, the Angels of Death, and so now we get into the Ultramarines, Might of the chapter, and we got a good old artwork and everything here, pre-launch for invasion, and then we get into the actual Tyranids. So pretty much think of Ridley Scott's Aliens. So that's what comes to mind with these guys and everything. So then we get into they're all about them and everything. A good old artwork of a space battle with them, and then we actually get into sceneries, scenarios where you can actually start playing. So and it actually comes with a good old battle map that's two-sided and everything. So you got on one side, this is way bigger than the camera, planet side, and this one would be a shipborne ones and everything. So not the greatest of angles and everything for it, but camera space is limited, so at least we get a decent idea of what it's like. So we get into the different scenarios that this book has. So this one video is probably going to be a relatively quick one, just to kind of do an introductory into this as well. So now you can see it explaining the different turns, how to use the dice and stuff, and then get into even more scenarios and everything. So now I can't reiterate how much this game is one of, if not the most expensive ones out there. So as you can see here, this is as you can see, the introductory set. So this is just kind of get you a squad or a couple squads the Space Marines and the Tyranids, to kind of get your appetite wet and everything. So then we can see here the starter set that you could build upon, and we can see here it explains it you get 12 Space Marines and 27 Tyranids. So you can get, in the sense of the starter set, that you can build upon this introductory set as well. And of course, as you can see here, we got the ultimate starter set and everything. So pretty much between all three of these, you can see it's pretty much the Space Marines and the Tyranids. Now there are a lot of other factions out there in 40k, so there are a bunch of other people that can go into much more depth than I can in Warhammer. This one is just kind of an introductory like, hey, look, this is Warhammer 40K. This is kind of what it's a general idea of what it's all about and everything. So now we get into like the idea of like collecting like Space Marines, painting them, and like different ideas and stuff like for how to do it and everything. So as I flip through the pages, and then the same kind of concept with the Tyranids and everything. So now with paint, and I'll get into paint real quick as I go here. So pretty much give like you, this is the only this is only the beginning. So just like any like hobby, like things can get kind of expensive now. Sure, you could spend like $50 a pop for like a D&D book or a Pathfinder book and everything, and like I've said before, with those games you can get away with spending $50 just for the player handbook or the player core book, if it's D&D or Pathfinder respectively, plus maybe not another $50 to get some dice and character sheets and like maybe like a miniature too to get started and everything. This one right here is probably about like a $30 or whatever. So I got this like a few weeks ago. So like I'm trying to remember like how much like yeah, I want to say I spent like $30 on this, but like I can't absolutely remember. But like where it gets actually expensive is actually getting into those actual starter deck, that starter set and the ultimate starter set, plus all the expansions. That's where it starts getting really expensive to start expanding it. Plus, like as you can see, like these little bottles of like the different colors to like basically paint them. So like you can always get like different ones. So like this one did come with like a bunch of like ones to start off with. So like you can spend 30, I think it's 30 to $50 for this one or whatever. But like as I'm kind of getting these kind of somewhat off camera and everything, like so this might be like where you spend the most money, depending on what kind of color scheme you want and everything. So you always like want to get like at least a couple different color schemes, because like we'll go back to like the book, you can see like with the color scheme in here, there's a good picture of them as I try to get rid of the glare. You see you could get away with probably like 4 or 5 different colors and everything for the basics and everything. So you could save some money up front with like the paint and everything to kind of as you get into it. But like as you get into it even more and start introducing even like different squads and stuff, especially with the Space Marines and everything, because there's like a bunch of like different ones. So like for instance, like with this the actual starter set and the ultimate starter set, you could quite possibly get like different instance squads, like I said, to do them differently. And so like here we see like kind of like the basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 different types of things that were like we could do for paints and everything. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to start with, and like this introductory set does come with the 6 like ones you can do. And so you can see kind of same kind of concept like with like the painting the termagants. I'm probably butchering it, like also termagants. I'm probably butchering like the pronunciation like I always do with other stuff, so I'll just call them Tyranids. So of course the back here kind of like for me is reminiscent of like the old StarCraft game that was released back in '98, and of course it took forever them to release StarCraft 2 with Blizzard. But that's this picture is kind of reminiscent of that, like the Terrans and the Zerg and everything. So I'm sure that like that's where like Blizzard kind of drew their inspiration from, because I'm sure Warhammer's been around a lot longer than StarCraft has. But like you can kind of see like in a sense similarities. But again, I'm sure that like not only are the miniatures expensive, but you're probably going to be spending a lot of money on these paints and everything. And so like you can get like a bunch of like different brushes too. So there's even some more ones. So like I want to say I got this one for like $10, so 77 tufts, like different ones. And of course like you want to get like your usual brush and everything, so it looks like I kind of misplaced the brush or whatever as I'm going through the rest of this box. And of course you got like the little like the bottom here that you can use for it. And of course you do have your ruler, since it is like a war game. You do have a ruler here to use like instead of like the usual hexagons that you use for like D&D or Pathfinder for like to move characters like by 5 feet per hexagon or whatever. You actually use like the I'll use this paint as reference, like they can move like 3 squares or like 1, 2, like 3 inches or something. So instead of like 3 hexes, like each one of these might be 2 or 1 or something. So there's, as I'm fumbling over references or whatever, but like this actually helps with like putting on it, like as you can see, as I'm trying to get rid of the good old glare, you can see how like it helps with the movement of it being like a miniature, in essence, war game. And of course, like I have so much I'm doing that like I have yet to get these out of the spruces and actually start putting them together and painting them myself. So this is pretty much an introductory to like I'll reiterate to end this, one of, if not the most expensive hobby that's out there. It's good old Warhammer 40k.